to kind of go back, let's give the whole story. So I was actually working 6 days a week away from my house. So I was actually working in Chicago 6 days a week, and it was the fall of 2016. And Nicolina, my girlfriend at the time, had called me, and she said that she wanted to get this. She saw this rescue dog online that needed. He was 10 years old. He'd just been diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and they were looking for a nice hospice home for him to live out his life. And I essentially had no choice because I was going to ask her to marry me in 2 weeks, so I didn't want to miss that. And I love dogs anyway. So the answer was, of course, going to be yes. And my only question was, what kind of dog is he? And she said a pit bull. And I had no experience with pit bulls, so I just said what I had heard, right? Which was, I heard pit bulls are a bad dog, but they're dangerous.
Yeah,
right?
like everybody else thinks, yeah.
Exactly. And she basically, like the wise woman that she is, told me to shut up and that I didn't know anything about pit bulls.
Yes.
And she was 100% correct. And
high five for the wife.
Yeah, high five. Right about a lot of things. So, essentially, what we understand is that he was brought in, he was found in Newark, just wandering the streets, with several injuries. And he was placed in the only shelter in Newark. And while he was there, I think for about a month, they could tell he was, not in good health. So a local rescue, it's Green Mile Rescue of Morris Plains, New Jersey. They pulled him from the shelter, and then he lived at a vet's office for several months while they were looking for a home for him. But we don't really know his full backstory, but what you can kind of surmise what's happened to him based on his body, with all the scars and the bite wounds and the shaven down teeth and the clipped ears. He was probably used in dog fighting or as a bait dog.
Yeah.
But people ask me, is the story of Bubbins the real story of Gibbson, or is it the true story of your dog? And I say, we don't really know his story, but it's really meant to just be the all too common tale.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just Gibson's story; it's all of their stories, and then it also is Gibson's story in at the same time. I think that's what I love about the story as well. It's like just creating this kind of awareness to people, like, this is how we are treating animals and beings in this world. Come on, like even when you say 10 years, like, can you even imagine, like, where has he been for 10 years? What has he been through? 10 years is so long, and it's crazy. And I'm so happy that he's with you guys now, because he seemed very, very loved and has a very good life now.
He doesn't go a minute without having a blanket on him.
So. Exactly. Like, what he's missed in 10 years, he gets every day times 10 now with you guys. So that's very, very well deserved for he's so beautiful. He's so, so precious. And then after Gibson, Mac came into your life, or was it around the...
So Mac did come into our life. He came in, I think, in July of 2019. We were volunteering. We're actually going to volunteer at the Newark Animal Shelter. We go and we take usually anywhere from 2 to 4 dogs out, and we take them to the park and let them run around. And a few days before we were about to go, I had seen a picture of this senior dog that was, at the shelter, and we have a huge soft spot for the seniors because they're really not equipped to handle shelter life. And Newark, they do is the best job that they can, but the facility is not, a comfortable facility for the dog. So when we got there, we asked, if we could take him to the park, right? Or at least take him and bring him in our car and let him decompress for a while. And when they brought him out, he really couldn't even walk. His back legs were pretty shot, and when he would try and urinate or go number 2, he would just fall over. And we knew this is no place for a senior dog whose back legs don't work. So we made the plans and we adopted him, and now he's a powerhouse. Let me tell you, he's walking multiple blocks now.
Legs are working.
He's a horse, man. He really is.
Oh, that's
It's amazing.
amazing.
Don't, just a testament to not judging. Don't judge the dogs that by the way that they appear.
Exactly, and also like it's another testament also what love can do. I mean, it's unbelievable, or when they even these dogs that they even have the capacity to trust human beings again, I think is just pretty incredible. And it's an amazing story what you're saying. Like, I'm so, and they get along really well together as well, I would say, right? Like they like each other.
They get So Mac is actually considerably larger than Gibson. Um, Mac's probably like 80, 85 pounds. Gibson is probably about 50, 55 pounds. And it's just so funny because Mac's a big goofball and like Gibson's a little bit more serious. and but Mac just like follows him around like he's the leader, and they get along.
Super sweet.
They're both very chill dogs, so they're not like running around playing with each other because they're older, but they always seem to be napping in the same area or on the same mat together. So there's definitely a bond between the two of them for sure.
And something you said earlier when we chatted earlier, which I really liked, was that, when I asked you about senior dogs, you were saying something like, yeah, there is a dog for everybody in a way, and that for your lifestyle, you have certain dogs, and for you feel senior dogs really fit your lifestyle, right? Can you explain that again? Because that was, I think, a really good point, what you were making.
So I think that a lot of times people go to the shelter and they're essentially just looking for the dog that is aesthetically pleasing. The dog that looks cool, or the dog that, maybe has a certain face, or maybe a dog that's like just sitting in the shelter, not barking. But what you need to consider when you go to adopt a dog is a large part of it is their energy levels, right? Because you're fitting yourself to a puppy or, a younger dog, that they're animals. They need to get out into the wild and they need to run around. They need to go on, long walks and get that energy out. But if you're, and you have to, be wanting to play with them and be willing to be jumped on and all of this. But if you like more of there is definitely an adoptable. I guess there's people who just like calm dogs who just want to nap and just lay on you and basically are just like live teddy bears, right? And that's what the senior dogs are. They're just so cuddly and so chill, and they're just so thankful, because they've been through so much. They're really just looking for a warm bed and a nice couch to just relax on. So if your style is that you don't want to be running around, or even if you have kids, senior dogs can be really great because they're not going to be running, bumping into them, causing havoc. They're
exactly.
Very relaxed.
Yeah, they seem very relaxed on the couch with their blankets and.
Guys, wake up. The alarm. It's so funny. Our alarm goes off all the time when we come in the house, and they sleep through it constantly. Yeah, constantly.
It's like great. I feel so safe with these pit bulls around. Like, oh my god, What a great guard dog.
We have on the fence. It says security dog, but no,
definitely not.
And I don't even think if anyone came in the house, like Mac would probably just continue to sleep. He doesn't like being woken up. So.
Yeah, it's like, hey guys, just be quiet. Take it all, but please, just be quiet.
So Mac sleeps downstairs. So immediately when like the clock strikes like 9:30 p.m., Mac he starts getting grumpy because he wants everyone to go upstairs.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Isn't it time? Isn't it time for bed? Come on. What are you still doing in my bedroom? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny. And something that you were saying before that I would really like to ask you what your opinion or your advice is for that. It's like you were sort of saying like, but this is not the solution and we need to find a solution, especially to, I think, the problem of rescues, but also maybe the opinion people have on pit bulls. Like what could be a solution to the big problem that we're facing?
I think that the solution is a balanced approach where you're taking care of the immediate need because there are so many dogs and pets that need immediate assistance and are in dire circumstances. But if you don't deal with the source of the problem, then the flood of amazing animals entering shelters or being abused or being abandoned is just going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, we can spay, neuter, shelter, foster, and adopt, but until we educate, it won't stop. And education is key, because if you educate, then you cut out all the in between. Like, there's no strategy in place right now to everything is assisting in the fallout, right? It's wait till the dog is abused, wait till the dog is neglected, wait till the dog is abandoned, and then let's deal with it, right? But you can't stop, and you can't stop that through force. You can't stop that through law. And that's my personal opinion, because people will just continue to do it behind closed doors, or they'll continue to do it, in a more sneaky fashion. And so much time, money, and effort is spent on rescuing each one of these dogs, where if we just kind of looked a little bit into the future and tried to grow and educate the next generation of pet owners, we could stop it before it starts.
Yeah.
Right? We go right to the problem, and we're working on creating that future solution while we also deal with the current problem as well.
Yeah. And would you also say that breeding and, these puppy mills and, like people just, keep wanting to breed all these dogs and then sell them and stuff, that's also a big part of the problem, right? Like these kind of...
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem. I went to a middle school to talk with the kids, and, I tried to explain to them that, everybody in society, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in society, they want the newest, coolest, thing or gadget to, have when they whip out their phone. It has to be an iPhone 11, right? They don't want the refurbished iPhone 6. And I get that, but at the same time, we're not dealing with, pieces of metal and glass. We're dealing with live beings, sentient beings who have feelings and aspirations, and essentially, somebody once said, well, in terms of this conversation, I can understand why someone would want to have their own child, so you can pass down, your genetics, okay, see how the child turns out. But when you're getting a dog from a breeder, it's not like it has your genetics. So, why don't you try and do some good in the world by, adopting a true being in need? And what's incredible is that there's so many resources that, even if you are looking for a specific breed of dog, go on Pet Finder. Yeah. And you can find any type of breed of dog, at any age that you'd like somewhere in the country. And there's so many amazing people who transport the dogs, whether it's, on four wheels or like in an airplane to get to where they need to go. Yeah. And, I think that we don't need to keep, creating more dogs while there's already so many dogs that
need us. Exactly. Yeah. And that's something also I think is a strong message in the book. And with the book, were you always thinking it was going to be like, or were you thriving for it to be this big and like this whole educational program now, and the website looks amazing and t-shirts and everything? Like, was that always something you wanted to do from the beginning?
I would say that, so I think that the universe kind of unfolds the path for you, right? And in the beginning, the impetus was to get this into families, right? To have, family members educating the kids to make sure that they were growing up, educated and being responsible, pet owners. And then, as things progressed, it was like, well, that's great that we're reaching out to these kids, but at the same time, the kids who really need to be reached, their parents most likely aren't going to buy the book for them. So the only way to reach those kids, therefore, is to get into the schools. And that's what the whole, education idea kind of kicked up. And a huge person involved in that is Lisa Potiker of the Pity Professors, formerly Lucky Dog Humane Education. She's been a huge inspiration. She's a former preschool teacher out in California. She goes into the schools with her former shelter dog, Lucky, which is just an incredible story to see, a shelter pit all of a sudden getting